Welcome to the Introduction Grammar course at Southern Utah University. In this video, we want to give a quick discussion to the concept of world Englishes. We're going to talk about Kachru's three circles or concentric circles of English, and then we'll discuss the benefits and the criticisms of this approach to viewing how English exists throughout the world. So here is a model that represents these three concentric circles. This model was created to try to explain how English spreads throughout the world, not just a physical spreading, but sort of a linguistics or a standardization or a grammatical spreading across the world. What is considered English versus what's not English, and what is considered grammatical versus not grammatical. So in the inner circle, you can see that the types of countries that are considered inner circle in this model are UK, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, places that are native English speaking majority. Then we have the outer circle. These tend to be former colonial nations such as India, Nigeria, Singapore, okay, places often throughout Africa and Asia. And then the expanding circle is the rest of the world where English may be used to some capacity, but it doesn't necessarily have an official or bilingual status in the country. So as we mentioned, just to summarize, inner circle, these are native English speaking countries. The outer circle are often former colonial, British colonial countries, and where the English language is still often used in government and school. It's a language universally used in the country, maybe to communicate between different groups within the country. But many people speak a different language at home or with their family. And then we have what's called the expanding circle. And these are places where English may not have an official status in the country, but because English has become such an important language for trade and diplomacy and communication between countries, these countries may use English in order to communicate with people outside of their country. And so we call that lingua franca, English as a language of international communication. So some of the benefits of this model is that it helps explain the spread of English. Something is developed as official English in the inner circle, and then it can spread to the outer circle, and that has an influence then on this expanding circle. Another interesting aspect about this model that I think maybe wasn't the intention of it originally is that I think it's helpful at illustrating the demographics of English speakers, how many English speakers there are in these different circles of English. And that what we're seeing as English continues to expand around the world is there are more and more non-native speakers of English than there are native speakers in the inner circle. And so that's another benefit, I think, of this model, an unintentional perhaps benefit, is that it's showing that lots of people are speaking English and they are not native speakers. So some of the criticisms of this model is that it may present an unfair or inaccurate hierarchy of English. So the idea that English isn't English unless it originates from the inner circle. The inner circle dictates what is good English, what is grammatical, what is ungrammatical, and that the other circles are just absorbing or taking this from the inner circle, and that they don't have any control. They're a receptive kind of users of English. So in this sense, it delegitimizes the outer and expanding varieties, that they're not real English. They're just copies of English. They're fake or inferior qualities of English. And this is a dangerous position to take in terms of interpreting world Englishes, that only the inner circle has the authority to determine what is good English. Because the reality is all these places have the right to adjust and adapt English to their society and their cultures. And so we can't say that one type of English is better than another. Inner circle English isn't better than outer or expanding circles of English. That they're all legitimate for the purposes that they fulfill for the groups of people who use that type of English. I mean, this goes back to criticisms that British English had of American English, centuries ago, that wasn't real English because they were outer circle, that the inner circle was only England and everywhere else was just copying or fake or inferior versions of their variety. So as we look at this model, what we want to think about is, one, it's helpful at seeing how English is really used throughout the world, and that it's used in native speaking contexts. It's used for official, governmental, or school purposes to give a common language to people within a country who speak many different dialects and languages within their country, or it's used as the lingua franca, or the language of international communication between people from different countries. And that's a helpful way to think about world Englishes. But we need to ensure that we don't think of the only good types of English being the inner circle, that all types of English have value, and that they serve a valuable purpose for the context where it's used. And really, that we may see, as English continues to expand throughout the world, that the expanding and the outer circles are actually influencing the kind of English that is used in the inner circle as well. That all of these different communities of English language users could influence one another in terms of grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation. So as you think about world Englishes and you think about these three circles, just recognize there's benefits to some popular models, but there's also some hesitations we should take in ensuring that we don't place a hierarchy on which kinds of grammar are good and which kinds of grammar are considered not good.